All right, all right. Doing that thing again, where the stream doesn't want to start. It's so annoying. Anyway, we're past it. We got it running. You guys are here. I'm getting down to some squiggly acid craziness right in here right now. You should see me. I'm breakdancing right now, I swear. Well, more realistically, popping and locking as opposed to actual breakdancing. I'm doing the Anthony Rother robot dancing my chair in the studio thing right now. What's up, everybody? It's Electro Saturday. Who's in the chat? Someone was first when we started the stream, and then the stream stopped, and we had to start it again. So I don't know who was first. Raise your hand. On the restart, we got Kobania 3000 from Hungary is the first on the restart. Drexine is back. Funktor is back. Acidbat is back. Simple Sam is back. Future World Machines is back. Live Society is back. Yeezy is back. Who else is in here? Pavel is back. I'm going to stop saying back. What's up, Street Up? Yes, Freaky Electro Geeks are in the house. Super Marks. Martin Crockett. Did I already say Future World Machines? The speed of sound in the vacuum of space is nothing. I think so. Farning, welcome. Undocs 020. What's up? Silver Knobs HMDT is here. Ryan Tompkins in Seattle, great to have you. Stereo Decor from Georgia, nice. Man, I gotta tell you, food and Georgian food, so good. I love it. What's up? 20 go to 10, got our basic reference. Nice. Hey, how's it going this week, man? Nice if it's bad. I like reading through these names just so I can like see all the new names and then like see all the clever usernames you can choose. Half God, half Beast is here. Alright, we gotta get going. I think that's everybody. Ladislav is here. Hey, what's up? Monuments wants a track idea. Well, I'll tell you right after I introduce myself. Hey, this is John Selway. Man, I'm all like amped up from the whoa. There's a thing on the screen that's not supposed to be there. Hi, I'm amped up because, you know, the technical issues, and it always stresses me out. And I was in a good mood. I was jamming on the music. I was ready to go. And then, this is 343 TV, and this is Selway Electro Saturdays today. And this is all brought to you by 343 Music Production School in New York and Berlin and online. You know, I do this every time. I got to give a little spiel about who we are and what we do. We do music production courses, songwriting, arranging, music theory, synthesis and sound design is what I've been doing a lot of lately. We have our 343 Studio subscription thing. We've been having events in the space recently. We had a bunch of people come in and we did like a live performance showcase. And yeah, there's always stuff going on here. And, you know, as always, if you want to know more about what we do at 343, all the links are in the description. So if you want to know what classes are coming up, you can just click on that link and see. I'm starting an online synthesis course and an in-person synthesis course here in New York very shortly. I just finished another nice round of Making Techno online course yesterday. Some of you might even be here, hey, if you're watching. And, you know, doing some genre-specific stuff like that as well. We should do a Making Electro course, huh? What do you say? Maybe some of you would be interested. Let me know. Let us know. You know, if you have any feedback about 343, you can email hello@343labs.com and just speak your mind. Tell us what you're into. Ask questions about what we do here. And you can also reach us and be a part of the community in our Discord. And you know, we're not heavy Discord centric. We're pushing it for a little while, but we still have it there, so you guys can come and hang out. I have a channel in there for posting tracks for feedback. And speaking of, I know I've been promising we're going to do this. I think I was trying to alternate electro feedback, techno feedback, and so on. I was planning to do the next one February, But it won't be the electro. We're gonna do another techno one, but it's gonna be a little different. Those of you out there who are into techno might know this name, Ambivalent. Ambivalent is an artist who's been producing for a long time. Started out some of his early releases around Minus, and he's also a mastering engineer. Kevin McHugh is his name, and he's going to be my guest. He's going to be my first in-person in the studio here guest. I've always had remote guests, but what we're going to do is combine a feedback session where you guys submit your work, and we can go over it. But we're going to pick one of the tracks, and then we're going to talk about mastering. So he's going to do like kind of a demo master of one of the tracks. So there'll be more info about this specifically, and you'll want to join the Discord if you haven't already. There's a Selway feedback channel, I think is what it's called, and there'll be a post there about how and what the details are. Pretty sure we're looking at February 11th for the date of this, so you've got plenty of time to get your stuff together, and yeah, that's what's going on. So we'll have more details about that. And I'm still solidifying whoever's going to be with me for the next electro feedback session. So that will happen not too long after the session with Ambivalent and the feedback / mastering kind of thing. So I think that's it for due diligence, for, going through what we need to go through. And I don't know. Let's check in on the chat a little bit. What are you all talking about here? All sorts of things. Silver Knobs is looking for my first keyboard synth. Can you suggest something not so expensive? Well, actually, I mean, I don't know. You guys might have some other ideas, but the plugin I'm looking at today is it's a virtual version of an actual piece of hardware, the Arturia MiniFreak. That seems like it's a not too expensive, very powerful synth you could get started with. So yeah, and let's make that sort of related to what we're talking about today. But yeah, any of you guys out there, whatever your opinions are on not too expensive keyboard synths to play around with, put your suggestions into chat here. What else is going on here? Let's see. Y'all are talking. I was talking about doing my chair dancing. And oh right, Arturo. Yes. What's up, T Sounds from LA, one of the members of the Making Techno course. Thanks for being here. It was cool meeting you. You made some good stuff, and I don't know. Stay in touch, all of you who are in the course. We can keep talking. And let's see. Okay, you all are talking about the Discord, asking how to join the Discord. In the description below, there should be a link to the Discord channel for 343 or for the server. If it's not working, I think a couple weeks ago someone mentioned that link might not be working. We might need to update the invitation, so we'll get that fixed. But just check it out right now, see if it's working, and we'll sort it out. So, what are we doing today? Right, I mentioned that I'm playing around with. You can see in the title, it's trying out Arturia's MiniFreak V, the software version of the hardware instrument that was released recently. It's kind of funny, like, I mean, Korg has virtual versions of hardware, and now Arturia has virtual versions of hardware. And I think originally the idea, when Arturia first released this software, it was only available to people who owned the hardware, but then it seems they changed their mind and have made it available for purchase. It's kind of interesting, like, what's the business and marketing scheme behind this sort of situation? Like, I'm not sure, but I think it's cool because being able to have access to a really cool synthesizer when maybe you're not interested in having hardware, or you're not sure you want to commit to that. Of course, like anytime any software is crackable, so now that there's a software version of the MiniFreak, like anyone can have it for free if they are feeling like this. I'm not condoning this, by the way, Arturia, just so you know. I always pay for my plugins, and I would never ask anyone to do it. But it is a known thing, right? Software gets cracked, and that just happens. So it's not. It's like if it's not in hardware, it's not sort of exclusive anymore, right? It's easier to access in a way. So what do you guys think about that? I'm not sure. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to be able to have a software version of it. And anyway, today that's what I'm doing. I'm playing around with it literally for the first time. I mean, I've played with the MicroFreak before, so I'm familiar with the sound of it, and the MiniFreak is essentially kind of a beefed up MicroFreak. So I also like, somehow I'm so in such an in the box producer. I use hardware, but most of what I do is in the box, and I like the idea of getting to know the synth and getting to know all of the capabilities in software, and then when I go to the hardware, I'll know what I'm looking at already, right? It's kind of like you can use it to practice and do sound design and stuff like that, and then you can switch over to the hardware if you're inclined to do so. Cool. All right, so, and the other side of this is I'm making electro today. So I'm basically exploring a new synth and seeing what it sounds like and making music with it. Let's take a look at it real quick. There it is. This is the MiniFreak V. It's in the home view, right? This is kind of the simple view. It doesn't give you all of the parameters, just a few of them. And we can go over, let's switch to the full screen here. And there's that home tab. We can go to advanced, and this is where, this is where we want to live, right? This is where we want to go in and tweak out and freak out our sounds. But, if you're not into that and you just want to load up presets and have a few macros and simple controls, this is the place to start, right? And we got our advanced view, and we got our sequencer. And I was thinking about it, like, interface-wise, having this big graphic visual of this built-in step sequencer and arpeggiator is way cool, right? I like this. I've gotten used to this type of interface using plugins. On the hardware, you can't see this in the same way. So, this is an advantage to the software, I would say, is that you've got more flexible graphic interface. So, +1 for the virtual version here, that we have this visual. You've got the piano roll, and you can click and add notes like this. It took me a second. I haven't looked at the manual or anything yet. It took me a second to figure out that you click once to add a note, and you well, I'm like 2-finger clicking to remove a note. At first I thought it would be double clicking, but it didn't do anything. But I'm doing like a 2-finger click on my trackpad to get rid of that. And then you've also got kind of parameter sequencing, right? So let's turn this on actually, right? You can look at parameter locks or parameters per step, and or you can look at piano roll. All right, let's get off the sequencer. We'll come back to that. I'm just pointing out sort of what's different from the actual hardware. I don't know. Let's listen to, now that we've seen sort of the overview of the plugin, right? Or actually, no, let's do a little bit more of an overview of the advanced view. There's 2 oscillators in this particular preset. It's using the Superwave oscillator, which combines both into one. There's a filter. In the real hardware, it's analog, right? And this is like virtual analog filter. We've got some built-in effects. We've got some kind of there's a chord and scale kind of quantizer here. We can do chord memory, or we can be limited to certain scales, which is cool. We've got our different voice modes and things. We've got unison, mono, poly, and paraphonic. We've got 2 LFOs, and they can also act like envelopes, just doing one-shot shapes. We've got the looping envelope, which is an envelope that acts like an LFO, and then our main amp envelope at the end there. We've got our modulation matrix, and this is another thing that's easier to do in the software. On the hardware, you've got buttons, and you kind of have to like hit it multiple times to get to the thing that you want. This is more straightforward, and like, when you click, when you want to assign modulation to something, there's a little plus. You click that plus, and then it'll be highlighted down here for you in the matrix. So that's also something, being for sound design, having this more complex, more visual interface for the synth is way cool. And then, you know, if you have the hardware, you can take what you do here and transfer it over to the hardware, which is excellent. And then we have like a custom LFO shaper, right? You can make your own LFO shapes. I don't know if I'll get this deep into it today. To be honest, I'm mainly kind of playing with presets. Like when I first check out a plugin, I really think about, you know, just checking out presets. When I first check out a synth, I go through all the presets, and this is what normally people do, right? Is you just go through and listen to everything. Now, I feel like I'm talking so much. Let's make sure you all can hear what we're doing and have a listen to what this synth sounds like in the context of this Electro Groove that I'm working on. And there's some kind of funny stuff rhythmically I was thinking about. Actually, yes, talking about the Making Techno course yesterday, there were some questions about polyrhythm and polymetric patterns, and I thought this morning, how often do we hear polyrhythm in electro? So I thought, how can I make an Electro Groove that's polyrhythmic, and because most electro is straight, quantized 16th notes, 18th notes, that kind of thing. You don't hear a lot of swingy stuff, and you don't hear a lot of alternative rhythms. That you hear that more in like breakbeat and bass music, right? So, you know, I just started with a simple, very sharp and clean Electro Groove, a little bit bouncy feeling, and it's having these. Let's look at the kick drum. It's not swung, but that 16th note kick right here makes it feel a little more bouncy. I mean, and if I wanted to exaggerate that bounce, I could delay that third kick drum over a little bit more. So that's sort of what I'm going for, is trying to make it bounce, right? All right, but still be very, because of the sounds, it's very sharp synthetic percussion, right? It's undeniably electro-sounding percussion. And then I started going through some of the bass presets in the MiniFreak, and this one kind of just jumped out at me right away as sounding good. Now I've actually already tweaked the sound a little bit. The preset didn't have the glides, didn't have the portamento, right? So I'm just gonna turn that off for a second. And it also only this preset only was using one oscillator, right? And not a super distinctive sound, but something about it sounded good with the beat. And then I wanted to beef it up a little bit. So I brought in this second oscillator, and then having that little glide between gives it a bit of a funkiness. So this is what I ended up playing, and with the idea of doing polyrhythms, I'm playing 3 against 4. I'm playing like triplet eighth notes. I did kind of a claw response with a faster, like a doubled. It's like playing 6/8. Right, so it's a little bit different than what you typically hear, I feel like, with most electro. It's swingy, right? Doing that 3 against 4 thing is making it swing. But I'm trying to ride that line. I want it to be electro and futuristic, but I also want it to be kind of grooving and bouncing in a different way. So that's what we're starting with. And I'm working on this pattern a little bit. There's some little variations I'm doing to the bass melody. So like every other one. The first one's just playing dun 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 dun, and then it's alternating with transposing the melody a little bit to create a variation. I'm already messing up. All right, and this one wants to go down and up. This is kind of, I got two sections to play with, all right? Like I've got the A and the B section with the call and response. And then I was playing around with some other sounds, and I wanted something kind of bright and sharp and more of like a lead sound. Right? And this is, you know, this is just having fun playing with presets. This one's called Gigasaw, and it's very modern. You know, you could, depending on what kind of music, you could use this for a lot of different musical styles. You know, I could start making trance with this if that's what we were into today. But no, I want this. I like that it's ominous. I like the phasing effect. That's, you know, it's got a modulating peak EQ here. Which is basically like a simple phaser, right? And then I was thinking about this call and response, right? That maybe those higher notes could be played on a different sound. I like it with the delay too. I also thought about it using it like this. Occasional stab. I'm having fun just playing around with these parts. Now, I think this sound is, let's see. This big Gigasaw sound is, yeah, it's in unison mode. It's using all the voices, so it's pretty much like monophonic. You can see there's a little wrench there. Some of these different sections have deeper parameters you can get into, and that's another thing that's easier to access in software. I feel like I sound like I'm favoring the software version, don't I? Yeah, that's my workflow. I enjoy that. So when I was playing around with this, I was sort of accidentally playing along with this. Playing some high notes, and you can hear. Like when I hold down a sustained note, the sequence is like making it transpose up and down, and it sounds really crazy. Let's jump in here. It's gonna be fun to jam. Alright, it's a little weird, but I like it. It's a little weird. Now here's an interesting comment I'm just reading here from Future World Machines. The BPM is 127 but sounds slower. That's a good observation, and I think you're right. And it has to do with the fact that I'm doing this groovy, bouncy, polyrhythmic thing. I think if I were to change this so it's more straight 16ths and 8ths, it would sound like it's pushing forward more, right? But I'm making a deliberate choice. I talked about having that beat sound like a bounce, right? And I think that's what's making it feel a little bit slower, right? It does. The groove isn't pushing forward; it's leaning back. Anyway, yeah, that's a really good, good observation. And too much distorted sound for silver knobs. Are you talking about this? Are you talking about one of the synths that you're discussing in the chat? It is a little bright and sharp, right? And I also, yes, a little bit weird is okay with me. So let's see what else we got here. All right. This is another sound I found just browsing through the presets a little bit. Let's see what we got here. Cascara, evolving pad. Let's get out of the browser view and check out what's happening with this sound. Whoa. Well, I am yet again having some kind of crazy technical difficulties. It seems like this plugin just decided to stop making sounds. There we go. Somehow, like, reloading that preset made it come back. Strange. So yeah, I was thinking about, like, I've got this, it's making it darker now, right? I've got this kind of freaky triplety thing. I've got the bright, sharp lead, which, you know, we need to figure out how we're going to use this. Luminous Clouds. Do I smell some Hoover coming? No, I think, like, this is as Hoovery as I want to get. And it is pretty bright and sharp and noisy, isn't it? I mean, what happens if we play it? If we play it a little bit darker, bringing the filter down. It's more subdued. What happens if we make this more percussive? Let's see, what's modulating the cutoff? LFO2, but no envelope. Let's try the envelope. Cycling envelope, actually. Not bad. Something I could play with. Check it out one more time. That too. That's like before when it's sneaking up on you. Alright, so definitely can use some automation to change that over time, the arrangement. That'll do. All right. Let's go back to this pad a little bit. I like the ringy spaciness of this sound, but it's so slow. Maybe we want to tighten that up a little bit. So it's getting louder a little bit faster. Yeah, it's got a long attack on it. But then there's is that a pitch modulation? I see there's a glide. I think I don't want that glide. Sort of divided on this. If I bring the cutoff a little bit. And let's take a look at the effects. All right, I think I have an idea for a melody. Let's see. Too loud, probably. That's better. And then I can play the other ones as all right. I think I'm getting somewhere. But I'm not sure it fits when the higher melody comes in. So maybe we'll be alternating those sections. We almost want to. I almost want to start arranging this right now. Let's see. How are we doing for time? I'm going to take a breath here. Let's go back to the welcome screen. Hey, everybody. And Luminous Clouds says needs vocoder. I agree. I'll be honest, I'm a little hesitant to get into doing vocals live on the stream. It's like, I got a hang up with coming up with interesting things to say for songs, songwriting and lyric ideas and things like that. I feel like I need to have that prepared already. But that is a good suggestion. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to name one of these tracks Vocoder. So just, putting that in there, taking notes so that next time I work on this, I'll remember, oh yeah, Luminous Clouds said it needs a vocoder. So, I mean, absolutely. Cool. And let's see. I'm glad, Silver Knobs, that you like that high chord. And again, it's making the vibe is a little weird, especially with the ravey kind of sawtoothy stuff that comes in when I was doing those squiggly up and down things with the glide. But having this sort of more serious sounding harmony with the pad makes it more smooth and dark, right? And I feel like it's adding a contrast, which makes it maybe more interesting and a little less weird somehow. So cool. I'm glad you like that. And it looks like you guys are just going off talking about hardware and stuff, which is great. Who else? Okay, Modal Electronics Cobalt's talking about some inexpensive hardware. Waldorf Blofeld is, these are good suggestions. And okay. Vocoder with some mental. Doug Smith just says, just say electro and machine a lot. Actually, that's there's an oscillator in the MiniFreak actually. I'm gonna throw another one in there and see if we can. Let's go through the oscillators. Maybe we'll come up with like a new sound. Right? I've been playing with presets this whole time. I haven't actually made anything, so maybe that's what we can get into. But while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna load up another MiniFreak, and let's go back to the main view here. Load up a new preset. We got our basic waves. Right. So this is kind of like wavetable, going from square to sawtooth to sawtooth. All right. We've got like a super saw kind of this situation here with some built-in detuning and chorusing. Like so far, all of this could be electro, right? Just those basic waveforms doing cool things. I like the harmonic. Kind of additive synth here. That sounds good. Get some physical modeling. R plus strong string synthesis. We've got a VA, a virtual analog oscillator, doing some hard sync. That sounds good. Wave shaping distortion oscillator. That's cool. That sounds like it's talking to you a little bit. 2-operator FM. You know, I was thinking about on the education side, as far if you wanted to pick a single synth that could do a lot of different types of synthesis to learn about, this is definitely one of those. It's got all these different types of synthesis mixed together into one inexpensive piece of hardware or inexpensive plugin. So it's pretty cool, right? Good teaching tool. Nice visuals with the oscillator as well. Here's our formant. You know, which is basically we're filtering a wave shape into vowel-like sounds. But then here's what you reminded me of, Doug, and that is frequency J33 yellow. Right, so we've got blue, indigo, 8, 10, violet, somewhere here in here it says like electricity or something. Red, 0, 1, H, I, 3, 5, 6, 8, 8, 9, 6, 5, 2, 1. I could have sworn. Circuit. Oh, there it is. Clock. Analog. Digital. Electronic. There it is. Electronic. Filter. Wait. Digital clock. Circuit. Digital filter. Generator. Where did electronic go? Instrument. I don't know if you can change the speed of it though. Hotel 3. All right, I don't think I can seriously put this in my track, but I just wanted to show you that it has this talking oscillator. I don't know if you can. Does anyone know? Can you actually like create your own words in this? Is there a way to like import phrases into it? That would be cool if you could make it more like make it more like a vocoder. I don't think you can though. I think it's just sort of little bits and pieces that you can, you know, use as an oscillator and combine into more complex sounds. I like this modal. Right? Modal synthesis is it sounds a little bit like a car plus strong. It's something like a physical modeling. They're using like a resonant filter bank to create waveforms. It's good at these sort of natural sounding tones. We got a noise generator. Right. And you can use it as an audio effects processor as well. So, okay, nice little overview of the oscillators. Let's see if we can get something going with the sequencer. This is kind of like, what I wanted to explore in this, because I haven't, in the hardware, like in the MiniFreak, I never really used the sequencer very much. And now that we have the MiniFreak and we have this expanded view using software of the sequencer, it kind of makes it easier to use, and it could be fun to try to come up with some kind of pattern. Let's see. All right. Now I want to. It's the challenge here is how do I make a 16-note step sequencer fit with a polyrhythmic groove, like a bouncy groove. I mean, we'll try 16 notes first. All right, so we're going to go in here to the sequencer. We can set up auto, right? And that means the sequencer is going to play along with the clock. It should. There we go. And I can either record notes in there. I mean, if you listen to it over and over again enough, it starts to sound okay. That was so random. I don't think there's like an erase function. I think you actually have, you know, there could be a hidden command that I would learn if I would read the manual. But in order to delete those, I'm going to have to just delete them manually, I think. I don't know if you can. Yeah, it looks okay. You can select multiple notes. That makes sense, like a regular piano roll editor, MIDI editor. It's trying to get in the right key. I'm finding the clicking notes on and off thing to be really clunky, I'll be honest. Yeah, this is, I feel like they could improve. I feel like clicking on and off once would be better than having to like do a command click or right click or something to do this. I'm not gonna. This isn't gonna work very well doing these straight 16th notes with the triplets. So I really kind of caused a problem for myself using this step sequencer. Can this sequencer do? Okay, it can do. What's the time division? Can we do triplet time division? Yeah, we could. I could have. There we go. That's what you need, right? So let's see what happens now. I'm gonna select all of those. Is it really? All right. How do I delete all of them? You can all right, Arturia, I'm going to give you some feedback. This clicking on top of this is so slow. It feels so slow. There needs to be like a draw tool or something. And again, maybe there are like key commands that I don't know that will speed this process up, but I'd like to be able to like oh, I still got even I love it. You're all watching me stumble through this process. But hey, this is trying out a plugin. We're figuring out what we like and we don't like about it. So, okay, you'll be stumbling through this too eventually. Let's turn the record off. All right, so we're in B flat. Right now it's doing... Yeah, this is another thing that might throw you off. Like it's these aren't 16th notes; these are steps, and so those steps are going to be whatever that time division is. So if you see, like, yeah, you want to make sure like the number of steps and the length of the sequence makes sense. So if you're going to do a 6-note pattern, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So actually, the length of the pattern is going to be ending at 7. Just trying to click and drag this note. don't want a note there. Okay. Find a different sound. Oh man, look at this. What is going on here? I've got all of a sudden 90-something% CPU usage, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 instances of the MiniFreak open up there. Let's see if increasing my buffer size will help with that. I shouldn't have to. Is this plugin really using that much CPU power, or is my computer freaking out right now? Look at that. Now it's over 100. We've got some kind of runaway train going on here. Let's turn off some of the other ones that I'm not using right now and see if that helps. Nope. Okay, guys. So this has been a little bit of a rough stream today. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the Be Right Back screen for a moment and see if I can fix this off camera. Maybe restart live or something. And then we'll finish out the stream. So thanks for hanging tight, and I'll be right back. Okay, I see what you guys talking about, the Be Right Back music. It's the it's hard to find this actually, but if has anyone ever played the 80s game Galaga? Yeah, it's like a shooter, you know. It's kind of like Space Invaders, but I used to play it like crazy when I was a kid. I loved it. And at the end of the game, when you would put in your if you got the high score, or you enter your name on the top scores, that's the music that would play. Dun 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 dun, right? And so there's like an album of video game music, and this is like the composer of that music created a whole big long version of it, and that's what I picked for the Be Right Back music. That's what that is. It's kind of silly. All right, so I got it restarted. I got it working. The CPU's not freaking out anymore. Let's just wrap it up. It's almost 2 o'clock, so we're going to stop soon. But it sounds kind of spooky, right? It's atonal. It's weird. I'm going with weird today, guys. I'm sorry. CPU's starting to freak out again. Make this a little more percussive. Just experimenting with the basic waveform here. No crazy modulation yet. I like the idea of going from inharmonic, more metallic, more ringy. Sounds really cool with that stereo delay on it. I just did there was I increased the attack time a little bit to make it smoother. I think I like that better. Let's try modulating the timbre with the envelope. Alright, so again I'm going to click plus. Right, it shows me quickly which column the parameter is in. Let's give it the cycling envelope. What happens if I make this? Alright, let's solo this for a second. What happens if I make this cycle, actually? Interesting. It's not doing what I thought it would do with this timbre. It's like, it's really subtle. Let's give this an octave underneath. Bring that down an octave. Oh, no chords. Yeah, it's another modal. It kind of matches now. -12 is good. Sounds better with the delay on it, right? Now, of course, this thing has built-in effects. Let's try them out. I think there's one here on effects 2. There's a delay. We'll go to digital sync. Actually, no, I don't want it synced. Let's go to stereo. I like having delays that are slightly imperfect. And we can use this as a send effect or as an insert if we want to go totally wet. Yeah, I'm not sure about the cycling envelope on that parameter. It didn't, I mean, it was kind of cooler when it was slower. Let's go to run. That's better, because it's creating variation over time. Yeah, more interesting. All right, let's hear it again in context. How that sounds with the pad. Oh, it's off. Anticlimax. Let's try that again. So now harmonically, you know, music theory wise, this sequence that I just made with the minor melody is conflicting with the pad, which has like a different harmony to it. Now, if I were to change the sequence one note instead of ba-na-na, if I did a different note at the end there, let's see. Let's go to the sequencer. If I went maybe up to a minor third up. And paste. No. Yeah, look at that. Oh, no, that didn't work. Yeah, I can't copy and paste. That would be nice. I'm trying to treat it like a live MIDI clip, and it's not working. All right, I'm going to make this pattern double. I wanted to just repeat the pattern, but do have it vary on the second half. It's getting more melodic and less weird now, isn't it? Let's see if it fits with the variation on the pad. Good. part's gonna work better with the less busy, more sparse bass section. Ah, this one's off too. I totally psyched myself out there. Right, and this needs to be dramatic. Maybe that shouldn't repeat every 2 bars. Maybe it should be 4. Okay. Then we have this to add. So I'm thinking about this one. I kind of like this variation better when it's filtered down. Okay. Let's take another little breath here. And I think we want to wind it down. I know it was a little bit up and down today in terms of the technical issues and the weirdness of the groove and figuring out a new plugin and having it kind of crash on me, like the audio just dropped out. It was weird. The CPU going crazy for a minute there. I'm not going to blame that on the plugin. I can't, because you've seen on the stream I've had my computer overload before. I had it fixed and I had it cleaned out. I mean, it turns out like the fans were like not working, which is one of the reasons it was having problems. It's been behaving lately, but it's starting to do it again. Maybe I need to just clean out the fans again. But yeah, I feel like I'm getting a good vibe from this synth, and I like the sound of it. I like the flexibility of it. All the different types of interesting oscillators that it has. It's easy to assign modulation, right? And you know, a little more straightforward for me as a plugin, as an in-a-box producer mainly, in terms of the modulation routing. You know, you can figure it out on the hardware. It's a little faster in the software version. So I like that. Not loving the clicking around on the piano roll and the sequencer is a little weird for me. But that's possibly user error, right? I have to look at the instructions and see if there's some like ways of working with the interface that are more clean, right? But yeah, it's not behaving like I expect a MIDI editor, right? And that's, you know, even though, okay, so maybe I need to change my expectations. It's not a MIDI editor. It's a step sequencer, and it's designed, and it's a hardware model that it's following, right? I should interact with it in a different way. It's definitely easier to use when it's in record mode and you just play the notes, right? It's a little faster that way. But anyway, so that's something I think that could be improved. It's only the first version, right? Arturia is so good about improving and updating. I mean, just look at the progression of Pigments. Like, it is so good. They have made it so good with the latest version of Pigments. So yeah, I'm sure that they will fix little issues like this, and they'll come up with some clever way to do it that I wouldn't have thought of, because I'm not a plugin designer, right? So let's say, all right, I liked some of the comments you had, and I definitely am going to, you know, I think it was Luminous Cloud that said it needs vocoder. I'm going to add that to this. I've been working on these tracks on and off for the last year or 2 years. I've hardly put out any new releases, but you know, I'm trying now. I'm going to try to finish all of the tracks that I've done on the stream. It may end up, there's enough that there may be an album, but that's like a goal of mine for this year, is to actually do like a bigger release, not just like an EP here or a remix there, which is pretty much what I've been doing most of the time. I think I'm long overdue to do like a bigger project. So some kind of album may be forthcoming. It might just be slapping a bunch of tracks up on Bandcamp and just say, hey, everybody, have at it. But so yeah, I'm trying to cover a lot of different styles of electro, and I'm pretty sure, like, you know, of course I do techno as well, but I think for a listening oriented album, I like working in electro and electro adjacent genre. And maybe going from like some ambient stuff to some harder edged electro to some breaky stuff to some deeper stuff to some more experimental stuff, but all kind of connected by what I love about electro. I think that's sort of the goal for me. So anyway, there I am speaking it out into the universe, and hopefully, and now I've got to own up to what I said publicly, right? It's gonna happen. So y'all can like remind me every now and then, how's the album going? Check in with me. And so let's wrap it up for today. Thanks everybody for going along for the ride as always. If you want to find out more about 343 Labs, you've got all the information to be found on our websites. The links are below. Join the Discord. Remember, save the date, February 11th. Ambivalent will be my first in-person, in-studio guest here at 343. We're gonna do feedback. It's gonna be techno feedback, and we're gonna pick one of the tracks to do like a mastering kind of demo. And Ambivalent, Kevin McHugh, is a mastering engineer. He's here in New York City. He's in Brooklyn, and he knows what he's doing. So he'll give us some of his feedback and ideas on what he does, and then like what you guys can do in terms of mastering on your side or being ready for mastering. There'll be all these details will be posted in the Discord. I'll do an Instagram post about it, so you'll hear about it. We'll get a reminder to get your tracks ready. And one thing I will say is there should be no like super loud master bus effects on your mix, right? Don't over limit it, don't over compress it, don't slap an ozone preset on it, none of that. It's got to be dynamic, it's got to have headroom, and that'll be in the instructions. So no like fully finished mixes, mastered tracks. It's got to be unmastered, uncompressed, ready to master. Okay, enough about that. Thanks everybody. I'll see you next week.
zone. In the zone you're free to move through the stars. In the zone you see the Zoid never dies.